Welcome. It's another Thursday. It's another episode of the Killer Comic Show. We've just about made it back in one piece. Is that safe to say, Pete?
Near enough. I think I've left some stuff in Harrogate, but I'm not sure what.
I think I've left some stuff in Harrogate, and I think I've only just become back into the land of the living. Like it was epic to say the least. I think it was absolutely fantastic. But we're going to get into that a bit. How has your week been since we? It was this time last week that we was kind of packing up, ready to go.
Yeah.
So you was going to Liverpool, wasn't you?
No, Manchester. So I went to Manchester Horrorcon on the
social
Thursday.
butterfly.
So honestly, I have to say, and I don't know what you're like, Charlie, but I've been hit really badly by the kind of post-con blues. I had it last year when I came back from Thought Bubble, but this year it's been like a proper kick in the nuts. It's been, and I've been straight back into work on Wednesday there, which was crap. But yeah, I'm pining Weatherspoons. I don't know why. I have a taste in my mouth for Weatherspoons that I need to get back to.
Well, do you know what? Like you're saying, you're pining the blues. Normally, I've got a can of Stella here. I've gone for this. I've gone for the Vive Tropical Blast Zero, because I kind of just needed something. I needed to get the taste of Jaeger bombs and Skittle bombs and other vile stuff.
No, what was the drink on the last day? Was the
it was the Baby Guinness.
No, God, no, that was good as well. Jeez, it was all good. No, was it a Jammy Dodger or something?
Oh, the Jammy Dodger, yeah, that was it. There were so many. There were so many. But yeah, we've got people in the chat. We've got Panels and a Half Pint Superhero. Sean, how you doing, sir? We missed you this year. We really did.
Yeah, we really
There we go. Back Dan, how you doing, dude? Welcome, sir. Thank you very much. Dr. Von Hoot, comments from the Spiral Dimension. What I want to know is he still dressed up? Is he still dressed up? Is he? Even anyone else still hungover? And then we've got Yuko Demands, Treats, Even Killers. It was a great show. It was honestly, a great con. We had a good time. Just as I said, just back in the land of the living, just about. But it was. Have you read any comics this week, Pete? No.
No, I have. But I've read the two for the show. I'll be honest with you, Charlie. I've not even managed to sit down and go through what I bought and looked at. Because it was. I had the pleasure of having Mr. James Keegan with me until Tuesday afternoon, and then it was straight back to work, and then I've not stopped since. So I've not had a chance to really look at stuff yet.
Well, we was going to have a week off, and then I kind of was looking at the all the stuff that I brought home, and I was like, do you know what? We had such a good time. Why don't we just go live on a Thursday night and talk about it and show off what we got and let people know how fantastic. Jesus, is that a pint of vodka? Are you still on?
Absinthe.
Jeez. Absence makes the heart grow fonder, does it? There we go. But the show's going to be normal-ish. We're going to get into some stuff, and then we're going to kind of invest some good time, because we haven't spent enough time together, Pete.
Yeah,
and we're going to talk about our how close we all grew, and the love and the bonds that we created over the weekend last week.
I can't do the heart thing. What's the heart thing?
I don't know. Is it that?
Somewhere. Yeah. Oh, that's it. That's good.
There we go. But it was great. It was great. But normally we'd go in and we'd go, right, yeah, covers of the week. We ain't got no covers of the week. This might be a 15-minute show. It might be an hour show. It might be a 6-hour show.
We should just say that I won covers of the week this week then.
That's fine. Yeah, it weren't going to be me. It was a one-horse race, and I still lost. So but there we go. So yes, let's just jump straight into it. Up first, we are going to do. So we only picked these comics. When did we pick these comics? Yesterday.
Yeah. Was it
we yesterday? Picked them yesterday. Yes. So this is obviously week 45, which was last week. We have gone for the new Punisher run, written by Dave Raposa, and we've gone for Transformers issue number 2, the fantastic Daniel Warren Johnson. These are good comics, I've got to say. Up first, we've got Marvel Punisher issue number 1, written by Dave Raposa, art by David Watcher. There's 5 covers out this week. There's the main cover by Rod Reese, the Scotty Young variant cover, which we featured a few weeks ago on FOC. So I know Fuzzy Dunlop picked this up, and it does absolutely look amazing in person. The 1 in 25 Salvador La Rocca variant cover, and we have the 1 in 100 Miko Cyan variant cover as well.
That's my favourite.
You've been reading The Punisher, haven't you?
Yeah,
You've been reading.
I
I haven't read it, right? So I kind of jumped into this. I think I've read up to like issue 4 or 5 of the previous one, and I kind of jumped into this with fresh eyes. Was after seeing Jason Aaron at the weekend, I was kind of like, do you know, I'm going to give it a go, so I'm going to go back and read it. But this was out this week, and I was like, I want to read it. I want to get into it. So where you've read the previous issues and the runs before, would you say you need to read them to know what's going on in this?
absolutely not. This is a fresh take, jumping on point, really, isn't it? I would argue that you should go back and read the Jason Aaron Punisher run. It's only 12 issues, I believe.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't need to know the background to that, other than the Punisher Frank Castle isn't there anymore.
Right. So obviously we're going to be reviewing this. Did you want to take it away first?
Yeah. I don't think I probably liked this as much as you did. So this basically is a restart for the Punisher. It's a fresh telling of the tale. This guy has pretty much the same origin as Frank Castle, in that his family are killed, and he's hunting down the criminals that did it. He's an ex-S.H.I.E.L.D. kind of wet works guy, so his job in S.H.I.E.L.D. was to do all the dirty work that people didn't want to hear about, as it were, so assassinations and all that kind of stuff. He's retired from that, and now his family's been bumped off, and basically he's set out to kind of hunt them down and find out why his family was murdered, is the basic kind of synopsis.
Yeah.
He's got what he calls body armor on, or a flak kind of jacket, which is the light up thing. So his costume isn't designed to look like the Punisher. It's just coincidence that he looks like the Punisher.
Okay.
And that kind of comes out later on in the story. The story was okay. I think for me, having read Jason Aaron's run, it's like top tier. Do you know what I mean? And then this was quite by the numbers. I did enjoy it still, mind. I will read on more. It's intrigued us. I thought the artwork was pretty cool. I thought there was some ropey dialogue in it, but it was okay. It was worth a read. I would recommend picking it up, I think, and just giving it a bit of a go. What do you think of it, Charlie?
I mean, obviously, so you've read the Jason Aaron one, and which is why I kind of want to get your review first, because obviously you're at the top of the table with Jason Aaron, and I think everyone will agree that the Jason Aaron run of Punisher was amazing. It's great.
Yeah.
I kind of purposely I didn't read that because where I'd read Chip Zdarsky's, was it Chip Zdarsky that did the one before? Daredevil. Where I read Daredevil. I like Daredevil, and I do like Punisher. I like Punisher as a TV show, but I've never really gotten into the comics.
Yeah. So
I was kind of like, do I want to give it a go and stuff? Is Frank Castle going to live up to what he does in comic books, and is it going to come across on a TV show? I really did enjoy this though, because the way that it started off, I kind of like, oh, you don't actually need to read the Jason Aaron one, which is good, but again, it just seems to me that Marvel are just rehashing over and over again. And again, it's kind of like DC, like when Batman brings out a new comic. We've said this time and time again on the show and on various other shows as well. Every time a new Batman comic comes out, they want to retell the story of Batman.
Yeah.
We know what happened down Crime Alley. Do you know what I mean? We know what happened and everything. We don't need to be like keep doing it. This one is literally just the same story. As you mentioned, Frank Castle's his family died, so he's a man on a mission. Garrison's family died. He's now a man on a mission. I think the way that they've created the suit, the Punisher suit, I think it needed to be more far removed from it looking like that. I think because in Jason Aaron's run, the Punisher logo changes, and you said that there's a reasoning behind that.
Yeah.
With this, I don't think a light up panel on a shoot or a reflector beam or whatever they talk about is a big enough reason for it to coincidentally look like a shit Punisher suit.
Yeah.
Because that's basically what it looks like.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like he's got a cross between like the bat belt, the utility belt with all these weapons and stuff like that. He's got AAA working, who's kind of like the Oracle, kind of in his ear and telling him what to do. And he's just kind of like he's basically a master vigilante, but he's going out and doing more. And it just I enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong, I did enjoy it. I like the premise of it, but it's just a retelling over and over again.
So I absolutely agree, Charlie. So for me, I was hoping for something a bit more drastic and a change to him. I don't think I was prepared for it literally being exactly the same story of Punisher, you know? And then I think, as you've said, you know, the fact that his costume just happens to look like the Punishers. Oh, and they started calling us Punisher. It was like, how are you, man? The other thing that I wasn't overly keen on was that all of the weapons are this kind of weird looking futuristic space gun kind of stuff, rather than kind of Frank Castle's original kind of guns. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think this felt like a read from maybe 10 years ago. That kind of storytelling, you know.
Yeah.
Again, I'm being negative. I will be reading on. I continue to read on. But this is not, for me, a long-term Punisher. This is a mini-series and then bring Frank back, you know.
And how long is this meant to go on for? Do you know?
Not sure. I'm not sure, mate. I don't know.
Because that's the thing. Like, as I said, like the thing that I've noticed in Marvel comics, right? They might be rubbish and stuff, but I still want to read them over and over again.
Yeah.
I want to keep reading it. And like the panel I picked in the middle, that's just a Hulk.
That's Mr. Hyde, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just Mr. Hyde. But the way that they kind of did it with his back popping and stuff like that was like the guy's just turning into the Hulk here. The one thing I did think though, which was pretty good, is obviously the first panel saying the bullet that follows, and then obviously it ends with the bullet following the guy through the head and stuff like that. So it is interesting. I just don't know. Is it the best?
I love the premise of this guy being a Shield kind of wetworks operative, because Shield is a big organisation. I don't think we've ever really explored that element. That of course they are going to have, you know, the undercover element that are bumping off heads of state and stuff like that. I love that idea. I'm just not sold on the his family happened to have been murdered exactly the same way as Frank Castle's are. You could have just given us something different. Do you know what I mean? A Punisher series about that would have been interesting, I guess.
Yeah. I just think the two that I want to see more are the two agents.
Yeah.
I think they'd be like a kind of like Cagney and Lacey type of thing. They'd be pretty cool to see. But I mean,
Lacey, Christ, you're showing your age here, Charlie.
That's going back, isn't it, Pete? Eh? That's
Dempsey and Makepeace. You know,
it is. No, definitely. But I mean, I'm going to continue reading it. I'm not going to add it to my pull list, but I will. I mean, I will pick it up and read it if I see it out. There are some cool covers out. As mentioned, I think you said the Miko Cyan one is great. I love that. Yeah. Like the Miko Cyan one is awesome. The Scotty Young one is good as well. But I don't know if it's a strong Marvel comic. It hasn't wowed me, and I know I'm probably going to go back and read the Jason Aaron one and be like, I'm not even bothering with this shit. But it was good. The story was kind of there. I just think it's just rehashing over and over again.
Do you know what? There are some great Punisher stories out there. If you're not a big Punisher fan, you know there are some
Punisher Max was awesome.
Yeah. Have you read Punisher Kills the Marvel Universe?
Is that what's his name did that as well? Deadpool, didn't he?
So that kind of follows on the original Punisher Kills the Marvel Universe was years ago. What If, and it is amazing. And it's basically the Punisher deciding to kill all the metahumans. It's just a one shot, just one.
Does that include all of the Marvel head honchos that keep rehashing all these stories?
Yeah, I wish.
That'd be good, wouldn't it? Yeah. But I mean, I think to start off the show, I'd probably give this a 6 out of 10. I mean, I think it was there. The premise is there. The premise was good. The art was good. The narrative was good. It just wasn't great. Yeah, which is a shame.
I think for me, I think you're right. I think a 5 or a 6 is fair. I wish they'd been braver with this and given us a totally different take on the character, because this just feels like Frank Light. You know what I mean?
This just feels like a Max Payne type of story. Like Max Payne, obviously the PlayStation computer game. This is, I guess, there's similarities there between him and Frank Castle and stuff. But this, for me, felt more like that than the Punisher did. Yeah. But you never know. Like they might up their game. Who knows? They might do like a Marvel Black Label and go dark for once.
That would be good.
That'd be very good. But yeah, so that was Punisher issue number 1. Then we went to Transformers issue number 2, written by the fantastic Daniel Warren Johnson and the art by Mike Spicer. Main cover by Daniel Warren Johnson. Cover B by Afu Chan. Cover C, which is the 1 in 10 Orlando Aracena. And cover D, which is the 1 in 25 Brian Hitch. I'm so glad I read this second.
Yeah, me too. I loved it. I'm just going to say I'm not a big fan of that cover B. I don't know why. It's just it's not doing it for us. The rest of them look amazing, but cover B is not floating my boat.
Oh, who's this? Hello, baby. Is he home now? Has he left you? Has he left your sofa? Is he back home now?
No, I think he's still downstairs. To be honest,
is he?
Yeah. He
Hi,
refuses to
James.
leave. He
You
refuses to leave.
refused.
Yeah.
Pete, your volume is super low.
Oh,
There we go. Oh, there you go. Turn it.
oh.
Pete, turn it.
I'll turn it up just for you, James.
ASMR. There we go. But yes, welcome, James. Thank you very much for joining. So, but yeah, I mean, I really like the 1 in 25 Brian Hitch cover.
Yeah, that's good. That's very
And
good.
I think for issue number 3, there's a John Boy Mayer's wraparound version, which is available for FOC over on Slab Crusaders. I'm just going to get that in there earlier. But this, I just love this. This is honestly right. We say about rehashing and starting the universe again and stuff like that. Obviously, we know that the Ergon universe has started again. It's all starting again. You've got Void Rivals, you've got GI Joe, you've got Transformers, Skybound and Image are kicking all this off. This is going to be wicked. This is so good. I'm so glad that this is obviously retelling the story of the Transformers, but it's done in a way that Daniel Warren Johnson just makes you want to read more and more and more, and you just can't get enough of how good his artwork is, and it's just, and how good he's like, his writing style is. It's sensational. Like, and do you know what I like about this is obviously everyone thinks these Transformers that are here to save the world, they won't hurt anyone. That panel you picked in the middle, this is the second time now we've kind of been like,
Yeah. Yeah. I just love how graphic it is. But I would argue as well, Charlie, it starts at the very first couple of pages of this where you've got Optimus Prime. I just love it. Looking at how beautiful the planet is and saying, wow, what a great area. And this is such a beautiful, then you hear a splat and he's stood on a deer and crushed it and killed it. And it's like, yeah, that's right. The giant friggin' robots.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They are going to do stuff like that.
I mean, it's true what DVH has said. Transformers 2 is astounding. The opening is better than anything in every Bay movie combined.
Absolutely.
I think obviously at the end of issue number 1, we kind of get what's his name? Who gets killed? One of the dads gets killed. He gets killed, and you're thinking, shit, has he just literally done that? Like, he's just opened the Transformers book, and there's people, the Decepticons are killing people. Then on the flip side of that, we open to like a calm, collective, neutral, looking out. Optimus Prime looking out, and then all of a sudden it's like, dear dead. Oh dear, there we go. It's just, I just think the way that Daniel Warren Johnson can adapt, like on a nice edge, flip the writing style, and he did this in Do a Powerbomb.
Yeah.
And he does it quite a few times, and I think what it is, it's just so fantastic the way that he does this. You're kind of like on the edge of your seat, and you just, as I said, you just want more and more and more. And I think he's got a really good partnership with Mike Spicer, because they work together on, I think it was Do a Powerbomb as well. But it's just great, and this story is so endearing. You can kind of see. I mean, at the end panel, where we're introduced to is that Sam Witwicky, isn't it? Is it Sam Corporal Sam Witwicky? He's back, and obviously he's the protagonist in the Transformers movie, so you kind of see him throughout. But I mean, what did you think overall about this, Pete?
I thought it was one of the best comics I've read in a long time. I thought the artwork is phenomenal. I think the way Daniel Warren Johnson draws and articulates the Transformers is amazing. I love the kind of the sound effects written over things like splats and stuff like that. It's great. And I was extremely excited, being an absolute nerd of the 80s, that we got introduced to G.I. Joe in this comic. So I don't know if you picked up on it, Charlie, but that's Duke, one of the main characters of G.I. Joe. That was the kind of the co-pilot in the aircraft. So to see all that linking in is just amazing. I love this comic. This is most definitely one of my favourite runs at the moment. I think it's tremendous.
It's just them subtle tie-ins like that, isn't it? Because obviously we was introduced to him in Void Rivals, and everyone was like, "Oh, that's totally come out of the blue. We're never going to see him again." And then obviously this comes out, and then Void Rivals has continued, and then we're introduced to GI Joe, because I think GI Joe is either coming out in December or January, so they're kind of laying that there. But I definitely think it's all going to tie in. This is going to be kind of like the Daniel Warren Johnson universe. You know, like we've got Mark Millerverse, we've got the Millerverse and stuff like that. I definitely think there's enough there for all of this to set up. I mean, if you look at the main characters from Do a Powerbomb, they're very similar to the boy and girl in this. Like they've got very, and do you know what I mean? And I could definitely see it all just coming together.
I think G.I. Joe is going to be formed to combat the Transformers. That'll be the whole kind of point of them. So, yeah, I think that's going to be an amazing series. And this links as well really heavily with the movie franchises at the moment,
Yeah,
because we've got that link at the end of the last Transformers movie of G.I. Joe appearing.
yeah.
So yeah, that's amazing.
And I just can't wait. Like going forward now, every time I'm reading a single issue, I'm kind of thinking I can't wait to read this in a trade paperback,
Yeah, yeah,
because I love the fact like Daniel Warren Johnson. I've signed up to his newsletter. He sends some amazing stuff through. Like he's just
yeah,
pictures of him just sketching, and he's got a YouTube channel. You can kind of just tune in and watch him sketching and doing stuff like that. And he's so honestly like so down to earth, and he kind of just messes around with the camera. He's like, oh shit, I've got that wrong. But especially after being at Thought Bubble, when you look at these people doing these sketches, it's second nature to them. Like they could do
yeah,
it with their eyes closed, and it's just a way that like nothing. It doesn't look finished.
yeah,
But do you know what I mean? Like when he's wrote and splat over that, it kind of just looks like he's done it and gone, oh shit, I'll come back to that and
yeah,
scribble it out later. But it works.
yeah.
And the fact that it's in red and it's just the pure blood and everything, it's just like, oh Jesus.
I'm loving the fact that we've got Transformers that are a bit more vicious, and you know we've got Starscream and the likes just dispatching humans left, right, and center, which is how it should be. It feels a bit more adult. If that makes sense. So yeah, I think this is going to be an amazing series overall, and I think this is going to hopefully kind of give a resurgence to some of those 80s properties, and we might see Visionaries, you know, all that kind of stuff, Mask coming out. Hyper excited to see that we've got Thundercats coming out from Dynamite, I think, in January. I'm going to spend a shit ton on variant covers for that, I know. But yeah, excited for that.
Yeah, I can't wait. I think basically it's just our childhood is coming back into resurgence, and I'm very grateful that I've got three boys that I can kind of share that with, because now I've got an excuse to go. We can watch Transformers, or,
Yeah.
or we can watch Thundercats, and we can watch He-Man and stuff like that. It's
Just
wicked.
imagine how cool you're going to be as a dad when you're the one that knows all about the Thundercats, and you can, oh,
Super
that's the
cool.
Sword of Omens, you know, and all that kind of stuff.
I'm
That is
just going to
so
be.
cool.
I'm going to be super, super cool, and I've literally just become an uncle as well. So I'm going to be that super cool uncle.
Yeah.
I've already told my sister that I want to just be known as Uncle Fantastic.
Yeah.
Amongst other things, I've said I'm literally just going to be called that Uncle Fantastic.
I like
So
it.
yeah, Uncle Fantastic. I'm going to wear a cape as well. I'm going to take DVH's cape, and we're going to combat the world. But I think overall, I'm very much. So I'm very glad that we chose to read this, because it was going to be Zawa, which also looks very cool. But I think when we kind of realised that this was out, we was like, we're going to review this, and we do apologise. I do apologise, Tom. I know you're a massive Transformers fan, but you know what? I just couldn't contain the excitement. The ergon was flowing, and we needed to.
Tom will be gushing over this. I've no doubt.
It's fun. Well, I hope not, because he's at work tonight, and I think his clients might moan if he's gushing over them while bench pressing a train. So there we go. Good evening, Connie. How are you? You missed out on the various array of shots that poisoned our insides, and we are just recovering from Thought Bubble. So you can do treble shots every night when we all meet up next year.
Yeah.
Talking about next year, I'm just going to play the intro because I didn't do a new one, but I'm going to play this one.
Oh,
there we go.
That's good. Yeah. I'm not down with the kids. I can't do shit like that.
And we see you like you was dropping bombs. You was.
I was dancing the night away.
Jaeger bombs, dropping Jaeger bombs. There we go. So here we are. Obviously, last week it was the Road to Thought Bubble, the last one where we covered the one and only Jason Aaron. This week it is the Thought Bubble Killer Comic Show 2023 highlights, shits, and giggles. Because I don't really think any other three words sum it up. There was highlights, there was shits, and there was giggles, and it was absolutely fantastic. I have to say. This is my third year in a row. It's your second one for meeting up with everyone. I think it was James T. Keegan's first one. Dr. Van Hoot's first. I think there was quite a few newbies there. Mr. Edvick, I've got to take my hat off to him. The legend, the man, the myth, the legend that is the one and only, the trembling Edvick. When I say... If there was one man that went out to conquer Harrogate, I would have to say that medal goes to Ed Vick.
Absolutely.
There was absolute animal. He was. I spent so much time with that man over the weekend. We travelled up on a 5 hour coach on the way up there on the Friday, and we just about travelled back on Monday morning on another 5 hour coach, and it was very enjoyable. I absolutely loved every single minute of it. Massive shout out to every single person that we spent the weekend with. Massive shout out to everyone in the chat that made my thought bubble experience better than last year, which I thought was absolutely impossible. But I mean, Pete, what did you think? And also, the comic room was there. The comic room was there as well. So massive shout out to you as well, and it was really good bumping into you as well.
So this is actually my third thought bubble in a row, and I think in every year it just gets better and better and better. I think the first year I caught up with you guys a little bit later in the night because myself.
Oh no, the first year I ignored you. Yeah, I didn't really know what it was about. Yeah, that was it. You can't swear on this fucking show, Pete.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Sorry. So yeah, in every year it gets better and better and better. The con is great. The convention is really, really good. But the absolute highlight is always the interaction with you guys and with everybody that's there, and just the fun we have. I said on Instagram, I think it was, that not without going into detail, that I've lost faith a little bit in community over the last few months. This really does reinvigorate me completely, because I think once you've got people relaxed,
Can I just say, we hear Andy, and he used to say Jenny Frisson, but you saying reinvigorate is...
Reinvigorate.
Jesus, that's a soundbite right there.
Reinvigorate. But yeah, it's when you had a few drinks and people are relaxed, I think you see the true people, the true characters.
Yeah.
And it was just great. Everybody was having fun. Everybody was laughing. Everybody was enjoying themselves. Kung fu fighting, yeah. Everybody was singing very loudly.
Yes.
It was just amazing. Yeah, I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
It was amazing, and I've kind of just like highlighted this fun now there. We'll kind of get into it and stuff, but this was just, I'm getting the thought bubble blues.
Yeah.
And I think the majority of the people that I've spoken to, they're kind of getting that as well. Fuzzy Dunlop, you should know by now that the alarm is set for 9 o'clock, 8:54 in your case, so you can kind of lay shambles. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's okay. We just won't. How'd you block this guy? Anyway, so yes, this is 2023 highlight shits and giggles. So Pete, you picked this one now. What's all this about?
I love that image. I think the image of the that they've had designed for the poster is amazing. Every year they do a different artist, a different highlight, and it's just great. It's nice to see. And for me, this has become kind of the firm start of Thought Bubble. When you see that initial kind of artwork coming out, that yes, it's gonna be fun. We're gonna have a good time. So yeah, it's just the initial artwork. It's very cool.
It is a great artwork, and I think, I'm not sure if it's got some significance to Harrogate as a location and stuff like that. I assume it does, if anyone in the chat knows that, or if that's like a location in Yorkshire. But it was good to see on Instagram today that they posted that they're the 2024 dates are going to be released soon. So we've kind of, everyone that was attending Thought Bubble this year kind of went mad and was like, right, we need to book up the hotels for next year. So the good thing about booking.com is that you can book as many hotels as you want, and as long as you go to the pay at hotel option, you get cancel the hotel. I think it's like 2 or 3 days before. So there's probably about 6 of us in the chat right about now that have got about 2 or 3 hotels booked up for the 8th, 9th, 10th and 11th of November, but then also the 15th, 16th, 17th and 18th of November, because we don't know what weekend it's going to fall on.
I've just booked November. I've just booked everything in November, just in case.
Every hotel.
Every hotel, yeah.
Look, is this the Weatherspoons? Yes, it is. Welcome.
It is. Yeah.
Take a seat at the table. Take a picture of it. Take a picture of your table, and then we'll get drinks ordered. And then Perpetua, I've ordered 17 rooms booked at this point, for fuck's sake. There we go. Only 17. Jesus, only 17. But obviously, Thought Bubble, yes, it is the Yorkshire Comic Art Festival, and it actually starts on the Monday. It starts a week before, because they do things with like children's and schools, and they do shows leading up to it, and they kind of do a load of stuff with like Leeds, and like I think this year Tula the Town, Becky Cloonan had like an opening party where they kind of just painted a wall that looked absolutely sensational, and there was a load of pictures and everything going through that. So obviously we only show up for 3 days of absolute carnage. But it is, there we go. Look, Perpetual's, look, he's already throwing ideas at this. Should we go down for the week? Can I just say that this man here, Edvic, if we was to go for a week, I don't think we would see him again.
No.
I don't think we would.
And we'd have to inform Weatherspoons so they can
Yes.
restock. Do you know what I mean? They'd have to get a tanker or something to bring stuff in.
Yes, and they'd have to put an anti-waving ban on.
Anti-waving ban. No singing. No singing past 10 to 12.
No singing past. But yeah, so maybe next year we will kind of go down there top heavy at Monday, and we come home the following week. But yes. So obviously these are some of the highlights. This is basically like, when I think a lot of people, when they say a Comic-Con, they kind of think it's going to be massive, it's going to be exuberant, it's going to be fantastic, there's going to be loads of cosplayers there. I think because my first ever Comic-Con was MCN Comic-Con in 2018. And I kind of went there and I kind of got into the whole thing of like dressing up. I dressed up as like Wolverine and really enjoyed it. But that for me was like, this is great. But there wasn't hardly any comics there. And it was only when I started doing this show with Andy and Tom, when Tom and Andy kind of mentioned like Thought Bubble, and Andy was like, we need to go to Thought Bubble. I was kind of like, I needed to look into it. And I was like, is it going to be the same as MCM? And when Andy said, it's totally different, I was like, okay. And it's like a large comic mart, but there's so much going on and there's so much for everything and people to do, and loads of like to take different interest in. There's panels, there's stalls set up, that you can buy badges, you can interact with everything. I think the main thing about this con is that where it's so intimate, you can kind of sit down and you can have a chat with the likes of like Ram V or Jason Aaron or Jock, and you don't get that anywhere else. Yeah. I think even at MCM, you have to pay for the signatures, you have to pay for the pictures and stuff. Whereas here, you don't have to do that. And I think Tula Latte has set up something incredible. And I think I did tell her that when I was drunk on Friday night, just saying to her when she was at the bar with Jock and Ramsey, I was like, you've created something amazing. And I think
I love you.
I think I said that a few times. But yeah, I mean, was this your picture? Did you take this picture?
No, this is off the internet. So I think for me, you're absolutely right, Charlie. I've done over the years a whole host of conventions. Thought Bubble is completely unique, and one of the big reasons I love it is you discover people at the start of their careers. So a lot of these stores aren't your mainstream comics. It's not your Marvels and your DCs and stuff like that. It's smaller publishers or smaller writers who are kind of bringing exciting, fresh new stuff. This is where I discovered, as you've just described, really, on a little table, dead unassuming little table with some graphic novels slapped on his table, John Lees, who's become one of my all-time favourite writers, Now, I would have probably never encountered his work if I hadn't been to Thought Bubble. It's just not on my radar for the publishers I read, in which case I might have missed things like Crimson Cage and stuff like that. So I just love that element of it. I love the fact that, as you've said, you're interacting with these mega stars. I had Tinny in there last year. Jason Aaron, he's written every Marvel character going, these huge mega stars, and they're literally just plonked in a table in front of you, and you just walk up to them and just chat, and what do you want signing? There you go, he'll sign it, he'll have a bit of chat with you, and that's you done. Whereas if you were to go to an MCU con, you're queuing for friggin' hours, they take your money, they sign the name, then you're off, It feels more intimate, more personal, and a lot more friendly, dare I say. I love it. It's a great convention.
And I do like the thing that you do get the cosplayers there. I mean, for instance, like you kind of get like Darth Vaders, you get the Stormtroopers, but you get people dressing up as like Erica Slaughters and various other things from like indie comics. As you mentioned, it's not like all the Marvel and the DC and the well-known like villains and heroes and stuff like that. But I mean, having like Ecto-1 out there on the first day was amazing. And then Darth Vader, I did see a guy getting a picture with Darth Vader, and he was getting his girlfriend to picture him as he was jumping, and Darth Vader was holding it, so it looked like he was getting like taken up with a force. And I peeped over her shoulder, and they timed it perfectly, and it really did look great. But it's just stuff like that, and it's only, I mean, it's not a massive venue, but it's quite deceiving. From when you walk in, you're like kind of, whoa.
I did feel it was busier this year, mind. I don't know what you thought, Charlie, but it felt a little bit more crowded. I think this will just keep growing and growing and growing to the point where perhaps it outgrows the actual convention centre.
Yeah.
But yeah, Von Hoots mentioned in the comments there about he would have liked to have seen a few more comic sell dealers, like bigger publisher. And I agree with that. I think last year there was a couple of big sellers. I didn't notice many this year selling kind of, you know, your more Marvel, DC, Image kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the only comic book sellers they kind of had there was Travelling Man. So they had like Travelling Man anime, they had the Travelling Man stores, and I think there was Gosh Comics, Nash Comics were there as well. But I think last year where the distillery store was this year, I think that was Slab City Comics, and they had massive, they had all the CGCs and stuff. And I think this year it kind of lacked in that, because especially for me, the first year I went massively in with the books. I took like a near enough a whole suitcase full of books that I got signed. Last year I kind of went there with intentions of mine of getting some commissions done, picking up some CGCs, getting a few books signed, and in that I kind of went there with the same thought process this year, getting some CGCs, picking up what I like and stuff. And I think I kind of missed that because I wanted some CGCs. I kind of wanted to just spend some money and kind of get some nice stuff. So, but yeah, hopefully I think that is going to be the case though. The bigger they get, they're going to have to move out the venue. So that
which would be a shame, because it'll be a shame, because I love Harrogate. It's such a strange convention, because Harrogate, for anybody that hasn't been, is this kind of lovely little village. It's got a Betty's tea room. You know, it feels quite British, if you know what I mean, in terms of like a little village kind of thing. And then you've got Darth Vader wandering around in an Ecto-1, and all of these comic geeks appear. And you know, it's just a lovely little setting. So it would be sad to move out of Harrogate, I think.
Yeah. Ed has said, in all seriousness, for anyone thinking about going for the first time, I can't recommend it more strongly. Ooh, more strongly, you can't. And it's also said, the access to the writers and artists, along with a ridiculous amount of fun with people who will put up with you, all your own ridiculousness, made it an absolute treat. Don't think, just do it. There we go.
That's what was said when we were drinking shots, wasn't it? Don't think about it, just do it. Just
don't think, just do it. There we go. And then obviously, so this was the lineup for this year, and they kind of Thought Bubble they tease you throughout the year. They're like, well, we've got this coming, we've got that coming, and it was the same this year. I think the massive names last year, amongst all the others, we had Scott Snyder, who was meant to come in 2021, ended up coming last year as well. But I mean, having the likes of like Jason Aaron, as you mentioned, coming to a small sleepy village of Harrogate, that must be a culture shock for them, because obviously they're based over in America, and he's like, hold on, what the hell?
Yeah, I bet they loved it. I bet they love the. Well, they wouldn't keep coming back, would they?
Yeah.
It's interesting, Charlie. I was talking to James Keegan about this, and to Luke, I think it was, and I don't know the answer. I don't know what they get out of it. So Jason Aaron, a megastar in the world of comic books, doesn't on his table doesn't have any of his own kind of books to sell. So he's not making any money from that. He's not making any money from signatures because he's not charging you. No. So does the convention pay him to be there, or does he come just for the shits and the gig? I don't know what the model is for them to come. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because really they're giving a lot of time up to do this event.
And you know what it is, and I think I went to we'll get on to the next slide and stuff, but there was panels happening, and I went to the Jason Aaron one, and it was amazing. But then when I first see Jason Aaron popped up, I was like, oh, Jason Aaron, like Mr. Thor himself, like Jason Aaron. And it was like, is this going to be ones where he's actually not going to be able to make it for whatever reasons? Because I think when Scott Snyder was meant to be in 2021, I think COVID was still a thing. Yeah. Remember that thing, COVID? Yeah, and he kind of didn't show up, and I was kind of like, I didn't want to get above my hopes. I was kind of like, if he shows up, he shows up. And it was, when it was confirmed that he was, I was like, Jason, Mr. Thor's there. Thor, like he's there.
Yeah.
And I think that was, over the last 3 years of going, that was one of the longest queues I think I've had. I think even Scott Snyder last year was long, but it was moving quite quickly. I think people just wanted to invest time in talking to Jason Aaron this year.
So I do just want to mention that. So I managed to get to, I think I was second in line for Jason Aaron on the Sunday, literally ran up there. And the guy was lovely, and there was a big queue behind her and all the rest of it. The gentleman in front of me had one of those wheelie kind of box things,
Mm-hmm.
and he must have taken out at least 75 Star Wars books and plonked them on the table in front of Jason Aaron. And you saw when Jason Aaron came out, you could actually hear him dying inside
Yeah.
when he
Mm.
saw. And I kind of that is taking the mick a little bit. I know when we were there with Tinian the year before, he would
Yeah.
5 books and back to the queue, and I kind of thought, somebody should have been there with Jason Aaron, kind of putting that in place,
Yeah. Yeah.
because it
Yeah.
was a bit of a Mickey take. 75 books, it took forever.
Yeah. But I think it is obviously they're investing their time, and I think what Andy said here, I would assume they're paid in all expenses too.
Yeah,
Funny saying this because Babs Tarr was there, and she literally, I heard her talking because I was looking at the badges that she makes while she was playing on her Stream Deck, a computer thing. She was sitting there doing some sketches, and one of her fans went up to her and was like, "Oh my god, you're finally here!" Because I think she came a few years ago, and she turned around and they was like, "Why are you here? Like why?" Because she was literally, I think she was in the distillery room, but
yeah,
she was off to she wasn't with like the bigger names, and Babs Tarr's quite big.
yeah,
Like she's quite a big name. She's done quite a lot, and she was like, all my expenses are paid, my hotels are paid, I will sit wherever they want me to sit. She said, I just enjoy doing this.
yeah,
And that's all, and she did. And I
yeah,
think that's it. I think because they're getting the experience as well, because I guess when they go to like the big San Diego Comic Con and New York Comic Con and stuff like that, obviously it's not going to be as interactive as this. Obviously you're going to get people queuing up and taking pictures, and you're going to get the likes of like Passport Comics barging in saying, I need to take a picture of you, you're coming on, like you're going to be on a UK show and stuff like that. I think here it's more intimate, and I think a lot of the US stars and the US, like the creators and the artists
yeah,
and stuff, I think they enjoy that, because I
yeah,
don't think they get to see the effect that their work has on like a one-to-one basis like this. So for the likes of when I was talking to Jason Aaron, I was there for like 5 or 6 minutes just talking to him about like what he's done with the Punisher and how I'm looking forward to reading it, and obviously with Scout and Thor and stuff like that. And he was kind of like, "Thanks so much." He was like,
yeah.
"Thanks for hearing your different opinion and how you're enjoying the comics and stuff." But yeah, it's just wicked. It's so
But
good.
if you look at someone like, and I guess we'll get to it later on when we're showing off bits and bobs, but if you look at someone like Charlie Adler from
Hmm.
Walking Dead fame, he literally did a sketch for every person that asked him, totally free of charge.
Hmm.
I mean that he could have been charging
Hmm.
50, 60 quid a sketch, and I would have paid it, but it's just free for anybody that wants one.
Yeah.
You don't get that anywhere else other than
No.
Thought Bubble.
Yeah, yeah, and I think it's it's a pleasure to see you again as always, Englishman in San Diego. Jason Aaron spotlight panel, and they barely touched his own stuff. Sea of Stars, End of the World, etc., etc., etc. What a
Yeah,
creator! I mean, they ended up rushing at the end because so many people within in the crowd like wanted to ask him questions and stuff. And Perpetua said, I was an hour in a queue for Jason, got 2 books signed, chatted about the best series ever, Scout.
still not
That's
read it. I need to read
no.
that one.
And I heard the superstars attend as they know we are attending.
That's
Hashtag just saying. I think it was bigger this year because they knew the man, the myth, the legend, Ed Vick was on his way.
absolutely,
So they kind
absolutely.
of upped their game. But that
Yeah,
was the guest announcements and stuff all over Facebook, Instagram, stuff like that. Then we kind of did our own thing as we do every year, the Road to Thought Bubble. So we covered John Lees and Pete, who did fantastic slide for that. Then the second week was Tula Late, obviously the creator and of Thought Bubble all them years ago in Leeds. Then we did Jeff Lemire, fantastic, and then we did. It just seemed fitting that the last one we did last week was obviously Jason Aaron. So we've covered all them, and if you'd like to see the rerun of that, head over to the show. We can kind of we've created like the spotlights. You can kind of have a look and breakdown of that and find out a little bit more about these 4.
yeah,
Then we did panels and more panels. So
yeah,
obviously the one that I attended was the Jason Aaron character spotlight, and me and Andy kind of had a laugh about this. We was like, they nicked our idea because we do create spotlights
yeah,
and stuff like that. But as an Englishman in San Diego, this was only an hour, but it could quite easily have been 4. It
yeah,
was the guy giving the interview was amazing, and I bumped into him actually, and I said to him, he done a really good job because you could obviously tell he was a fan of Jason Aaron. You could obviously tell he was engaging and interested about what he was saying. And for anyone else that attended this, I think you'll agree that I could listen to Jason Aaron talk about comics and what he does and how he's created it and how he's gone from Thor. He's done Scouts. He's now doing like Superman and Batman. this guy's done so much. I mean,
Celebrity, isn't he?
he's involved in the Thor films.
Yeah,
And one of the questions I wanted to get up and ask was what we discussed on the show a couple of weeks ago was obviously where he's so involved in the Thor comics and he was involved in the movies and stuff like that. How did he feel that they dealt with Jane Foster's
yeah,
cancer, taking it from a really serious situation in the comics to kind of like a light-hearted, oh
yeah,
well, she's going to die, but she's going to become Lady Thor anyway. And it was just wicked. And he was sitting there, and I think one of the guys in the audience got up and asked him and said, "Where is your home from home? Like, what does your home from home look like?" And he was kind of like, "My home from home is you walk in, and the first thing you see is a life-size statue of Thor in my doorway as you're walking on the right-hand side." He said, "My each room has got comic books in. It's got long boxes in. It's got bookcases full of comics and stuff." And one of the stories he said, I was writing this comic and I was reading it, and I got to I was reading, looking through my long box, and I was like, "Oh my god, there's about 15 issues here that are missing." And he was like, "I can't think where the hell they've gone." And he was like, "Oh, I wrote them. I wrote them, so they're in a different box." And it was just stuff like that. Like he was, and we were saying, like someone said to him, "What's your thought process like?" And he was like, "If I was to die tomorrow, I've got scraps of paper everywhere that wouldn't mean anything. No one would be able to decipher them. But if I was just to pick up one random bit of paper, I'd know exactly where that was, when I wrote it, what issue it was
yeah,
for, and
yeah,
stuff like that." And I'm kind of like, these people are like gods. Like
yeah,
they kind of build up like this godlike status. And it's ironic we're talking about like a godlike status, and obviously the
yeah,
writer of Thor. But this was one of the best panels I think I've attended because it was wicked. Like I went to the Scott Snyder one last year, but this one for me really did top it. I really enjoyed it.
yeah. I'm gutted I missed that one. I would like to have got to that one, but I missed it. I ended up in the panel with Jeff Lemire, where it was about kind of how you start in the business, I guess, and that wasn't the same experience as you had, Charlie. That was there was Jeff and there was three other writers, who I didn't know. So I kind of went into the panel wanting probably what you got, which was a one-on-one experience, and hearing from Jeff Lemire on his process and stuff. And what ended up happening, because he's such a quiet spoken guy, the others just talked and talked and talked,
Yeah,
and he got
yeah,
very little airtime.
yeah.
So it was a little bit disappointing that I would have liked a one-on-one, I think, with him.
And I think that's obviously alcohol played quite a big part in our weekend break. And Von Hu said that's my biggest regret. The hangover took me out of the Jason signing. Fortunately, Miss Von Hu hooked me up, but I really wanted to say how badass Southern Bastards
Yeah, I
was to
love
him.
it. Love Sun Bastards.
And there we go. And then agreed. That host fitted in so much, and it's still barely scratched the surface. Tough gig. It was indeed. It really was. And Ed, can I have a hug, Vic? Next year I'm going to make more of the creators being there, ticked off seeing Jeff, but next year we'll do more. Yes, but I mean, there were various panels. There were various
Yeah,
panels. I think, like as you mentioned, Jeff Lemire did one, Charlie Adler did one, which is on
yeah,
the screen now, and Jason Aaron. But it was really good, and I'm glad this year I kind of invested time in doing that because sometimes it's really hard to not get caught up in the moment. Just go around, get your comics,
yeah.
and kind of do that. Whereas sitting down and actually doing a panel, it's educational. It's really educational. It's really good to do.
Yeah, so I think that the first year I went to Thought Bubble, I had an obscene amount of books. In fact, I had to split it into kind of day one and day two for us to be able to physically carry the big things, you know.
Yeah,
And it became more like a bloody treasure hunt, kind of darting
yeah,
around
yeah,
trying to
yeah,
get stuff done.
yeah, yeah,
Last year I relaxed a bit more. This year was great because I had a handful for key people that I wanted, and I could just chill a little bit and do some of the
yeah.
panels and stuff, you know.
And I do have to say, right, so Andy's just made a comment, but I want to go back to his comic he made earlier. So Friday night we was in a bar, and in walked Ramsey, and then you think, oh, Ramsey's in. Then walks in
Yeah,
Jock. And no, then walked in Two Little and then walked in Jock, and we were sitting by a table right by the door, and Jock was like, "Hey guys!" Then he looked at Andy and just shouted, "I love that guy!" And he just
yeah,
walked off to the bar. And Andy's little face, bless him, he was so happy. He was like on cloud nine. But yeah, that's how intimate it is. Like you
yeah.
wouldn't get that at MCM Comic Con.
No,
Like
no,
you're not going to
no.
get that. And then what comment has he just made? He said, I was asked by a very famous creator when I was going back on the show. Made my day. There we
That's
go.
nice. That's
Look
nice.
at that. There we go. And one good scare. What did you think of the panel we saw, Pete?
So that's the one I've just been discussing, saying that Jeff Lemire was kind of sidelined by some very vocal
Hmm.
other creators. Best bit of the entire panel, if I'm honest, because I think after about half an hour I was losing the will to live, and I was messaging you guys saying, "Dear God, get us out of here." And then it's an intimate little room, and then all of a sudden the doors kind of burst open and swing, and just silhouetted in the frame is Von Hoot in full makeup, cape bellowing, bow tie, and the entire room just kind of stopped for a second and thought, what the fuck? What's happening here? And he just kind of slid into the back with Mrs. Von Hoot and watched the remainder of the panel. And I just like, yep, legend.
And that's the larger than life personality that Von Hoot has with him. I never ever thought I'd be able to say that I spent a weekend with a grown male, and I think it was one of the highlights of my weekend. So massive shout out to Mr. and Mrs. Von Hoot for making such a wicked weekend. Really, really was good. And based on that comment that Jock said when he walked in, I love that guy. He said, I think it was more that that's the guy that pays my mortgage. There we go. There we go. And that's how I roll. There we go. That's definitely how you roll, mate.
Yeah.
Keep them shots coming. So that was the panels. Then, so this was fantastic, right? So obviously, Jeff Lemire was right by the guys at Digital. So massive shout out to Richard and Katie. First ever digital stand. Digital is obviously a fantastic Kickstarter that they're now on chapter 5. Absolutely killing it. Absolutely love spending time with you guys. But Jeff Lemire off to the side, just a plain black desk. There was no like pull up banner saying Jeff Lemire. There was nothing. No posters, no books of what he was selling, everything. It was just a guy. If you weren't into the comic scene, you wouldn't have known it was Jeff Lemire. You honestly wouldn't have known it. And he was kind of just sitting there, and I'd wanted to get an interview with him. I booked in to get an interview and stuff. And I think the day before, Ed kind of went up and got a backing board and just said to Ed, just said to Jeff, would you mind doing me a sketch? How fantastic is that Sweet Tooth sketch?
It's annoyingly good because it's not mine. I'm wound up that Ed managed to get that because it's absolutely first class. And I think it's madness that that Jeff Lemire didn't have like a huge sign saying Jeff Lemire. Do you know what I mean? Because like you say, let's be honest, for the majority of these creators, you wouldn't know who they are because you don't really see them. Do you know what I mean? So I bet people walked past him all day long, not having a bloody clue that he sat there twiddling his thumbs, waiting to knock out amazing sketches like that.
Yeah.
You know?
And I mean, so Ed got that, and we got a few comic books signed and stuff. And then I kind of went up to like talk about the interview that we was going to have and stuff. And he was like, yeah, come back. Like, and it's sod's law. I was about to sit down and interview with him, and then all of a sudden these people started coming, and he was like, I can't do it. So I was like, okay, we'll go back at 2:00. Went back there at 2:00. It didn't work out. So I ended up getting my comic book signed. I've booked him in. He will be coming like on the show either towards the end of this year or next year and stuff. Excellent. But I said, would you mind just doing me a sketch? And he was like, yeah, what would you like? And I said, I'll go for Francis Fox. Go for the fish flies. Yeah. And these were free. The main thing here, these were free. And there are some artists there that would charge like 60, 70, 80 quid for a sketch like this. Whereas these were free and they were amazing. And he'd done them in less than 3 minutes. And it was wicked. All he had on this table was this A3 sketchbook that people were flicking through. And he was sitting there willing to sign and stuff. And it was just wicked. It was such a good experience meeting Jeff.
Incredible.
And then obviously these were the free sketches. Then obviously we've got various commissions. So disclaimer, these aren't mine. I wish they were all mine, but I've kind of like collated the majority of them from the Thought Bubble chat. So obviously we've got yours, Pete.
Yeah, so that's an Optimus Prime by Charlie Adlard. So I waited in line to see him. I have to say he wasn't overly excited when I asked him to do an Optimus Prime. In fact, he said to us, "You're not going to ask us to draw a bloody robot, are you?" And I was like, "I was, like, yeah." And then he asked us for some reference material because he wasn't sure what to draw. So I opened the book. He said, "Oh, I can do that." And then he just knocked that out, and it was like, Jesus, it's just phenomenal. I absolutely love it. And then he also did, you'll see the top image there of the clicker. So that was for James T. Keegan. Amazing. Again, James, I think he said he hadn't really got a lot of experience with clickers, but the guy is so talented. It's obscene, you know. Yeah, incredible.
And then obviously we've got Luke from Hydro Collectibles, his Catwoman, which was by Buckingham. I can't remember his name.
Phil Buckingham,
Phil Buckingham, which is sensational, which is amazing. This one is from Baz Renshaw, which I get one every year. I get one every year. The first year it was Optimus Prime. The second year it was hardly thin, I think his name was. And then this year I kind of got this Batman. But again, this was a free. That was free. That was a free sketch. And then Bat Dan got this fantastic Dracula by Martin Simmons. It's awesome, absolutely amazing. And then obviously James, aka the Gentle Giant, aka Comic Deal, got this by Ian Richardson, Usagi Yojimbo, which is, I've seen this up close and it is incredible. This picture here doesn't do it justice. It's sensational. It is sensational.
I have to say, I mean, and I know Ian a little bit now, and he is such a nice, gentle guy. And his sketches are cheap as chips. Cheap as chips. And I keep saying to him, for the quality of the artwork he's pushing out, he could be charging so much more, but he's so humble, you know?
Yeah.
An incredible guy. Lovely man.
Yeah. And it was, I mean, and there were so many people sketching it. I think Von Hoot got one. Someone was saying, I can draw you, I can make you a zombie for £20. Yeah. And it was awesome. It's just like little things like that. And because there's if you don't take the time to visit every stall, you kind of miss out on stuff like this, because if you only want to go to the big names and get your commissions and stuff, then you can do that. That's your prerogative. But there's so many little pop-up stalls there that can do fantastic stuff like this.
Yeah. So jealous of that Dracula. And I'll show you why in a little bit, but that was it. So maybe it doesn't show up particularly well on the image there, but that's like a gold paint on the background, because I saw that. I was showing it when I was there. It's stunning. Absolutely stunning.
It was awesome. So then moving on to kind of so this is the first year I've kind of sat out and said, right, I'm gonna get the interviews, I'm gonna get it sorted and stuff like that. So on the Sunday, I kind of sat down with the co-founder of Distillery, Chip Mosher, who used to be at Comixology. He's now created this who's who of the comic industry. So Distillery, if you don't know, I've got the likes of Jock, Tula Tay, Becky Cloonan, Scott Snyder, Ram V. They've got a plethora of absolutely amazing talent that was there on the day, signing books, doing sketches and stuff like that. So I sat down with him for a good 20 minutes. The interview of that is going live on Saturday, the 18th of November. So once I've cut all that, chased it up, you can go over for your viewing pleasure and have a look at that and find out a bit more about Distillery. But then also I interviewed Dapo Adiola, who my kids have a few of his books. Like We're Going to Find the Monster. They've got like Look Up and Who's You. And that was a really good interview. And because these are live interviews, and I'm not going to edit them too much, you'll see, especially from the Dapo Adiola one, people are coming up saying, oh, I'm so sorry, can you sign this book? Can you sign that book? And he's a child illustrator. But he's come from subtle backgrounds and stuff like that, and he's now absolutely killing it. I mean, he's got a book that's now been optioned for a TV series, for a small TV series and stuff like that, and he's got so much coming up. He's doing his own creator content, he's writing, he's doing a narrative for that. So that was a really interesting interview, and that's going to be going out live, not live, it's going to be going out on Sunday the 19th of November. But I mean, I really enjoyed doing it this way. I mean, because I said to you, like last year, I was kind of like, I'm in the moment. I want to see my friends. I want to meet up with everyone. I want to get what I've got done and then go and do what I've got to do. I really made benefits of the press pass this year. And I have to say massive thanks to Harry, to Andy and to Chloe for sorting it out. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to these interviews. Do you think going back next year, Pete, you'll probably sit down and do some interviews?
Yeah, I might do. It depends who's there. But I enjoy doing the interviews, but I enjoy the con as well. So I think I don't want to make the con too much of a kind of a business thing, if you know what I mean. I think you got the balance just right, because you weren't doing it all the time, were you? You did a couple of interviews. I think it would be very, very easy to fall into it. I'm going to Thought Bubble for content. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Whereas you got the mix just right. So I think I'll probably try and get a couple of interviews, but not spend my weekend doing them.
Yeah. And that was good, Andy. Yeah, the highlight for me this year's TB was meeting the viewers of the show, the actual community, Dan and Ed, the top blokes. Yes, they are indeed. Dan, next time, don't drive, because Bat Dan's got a Bat van, isn't he?
Bat Dan mobile? Is that what you're called?
The Bat Dan Bat van. There we go, the Bat Dan Bat van. Batman. There we go. And then, did anyone from Distillery mention when they are releasing digitally? You'll have to find out on Saturday, the 18th of November. There we go. What great little segue there. So thanks for that. And would hate to do an interview hungover. Yeah, I wouldn't know about that. The actual Chip Mosher one was booked in for the Saturday, and I was like, "This ain't no, it's not. It's not going to work. It's not going to work."
Why?
But it was good.
Why's Chip checking out your junk there? What's going on there?
Oh, because there's so much junk in the trunk.
Zipped
Yeah.
him?
The mini KCS was popping out, so he just popped out, say hello, and then he went back down below. There we go. There we go. But these are just some of the interviews that we've got lined up as well, which is going to be interesting.
I'm looking forward to them.
And then there we go, the class of 2023. So obviously we mentioned at the start of the show that Thought Bubble is a comic convention first and foremost, but for me, the whole Killer Comic Show and the whole premise of the show and the whole premise of going to Thought Bubble and engaging and enjoying everything isn't complete without every single person on this panel and on this picture. I mean, obviously there was people like Connie Dalton that didn't show up this year, and we had like the main man who always joins us, Tom. He was unfortunately wasn't able to join us, but Pete, you were there, and I've got to say, you are amazing. I have so much love and respect for you, mate, as I do with every single person on this panel and on this page as well. And I tell you what, it was one of the most enjoyable weekends I've ever had. Yeah, I think on Sunday, just getting into Weatherspoons at 3:00 in the afternoon and literally singing various songs. I think the quote from James Comic Deal was, "We ran out of songs. We completed Spotify."
Yeah,
and do you know what it was? And the funny thing is, we was in there from 3:00 in the afternoon singing at a reasonable sound, and it was only at 5 to 12, 5 minutes before they were closing, that an angry Scotsman, I'm not sure if he was angry or he was drunk, came up to us and was like, "Just keep it down, keep it down." But it was sense. I mean, I don't know what you thought about it, but it was wicked.
My throat is still sore. Is your throat still sore? I still feel like I'm kind of hoarse. No, absolutely. I mean, Andy's saying this is Thought Bubble in the comments. This is why I go to Thought Bubble. This is why it's such a highlight of my year for me. It recharges us, if I'm honest. This is kind of my pick me up to keep us going. Yeah. I'm going to be soppy as shit here, Charlie. I don't have a massive friendship group at home, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And stuff like this just makes us kind of, I wish I was living near you all, do you know what I mean? So we could do this every Friday kind of thing. It's just, it's a stunning, beautiful kind of event. And every single person brought something to the table. Everyone gave her a laugh.
Yeah.
James has mentioned there about laughing. My sides were killing. Absolutely killing by the end of the weekend,
and it was James and Ed's first time.
Yeah, like, James and Ed's Chinese eyes.
And I must have to say, like, James, you laughed so hard, but it was hilarious because you lost your eyes. And that made me laugh even more. And then obviously because I'm laughing, because you're laughing, everyone just kept laughing. And it was just, honestly, I think I woke up the next morning with a stitch, and I was just like, Sunday was one of the best days. It was amazing. Maybe not for Ed the Shakes Vic.
Shaky Ed Vic.
But it was wicked.
Can we just mention how much fun Ed was with these waves every time you looked? I mean, this was just tremendous.
It was just, and like Jack says, stuff like this is why the comic community is still alive, even better that it's in the UK. And I'll tell you what, every single person on here is why it's still alive, is why it still works. So like massive shout out to everyone here, massive shout out to the likes of Hydro Collectibles, Scott Shelf, and everyone else. It was wicked. I really, really did enjoy it, and that is
Thought Bubble, isn't it? We must have put some money behind the bar and Weatherspoons. I was just thinking as well.
I would say I think we kept their lights on for the month of November, December, January, and February. If I'm being honest, But yeah, this is it. This is Thought Bubble in like one slide, and there we go. And so. That's it. That was Thought Bubble. So, yeah, thanks for being part of that, Pete. That was absolutely amazing.
Thank
absolutely loved it. But before we do get on to this, have you got any pickups from Thought Bubble before we go on to this?
I've got some bits and bobs I can quickly show. Have you got a little pile of things to show off?
I have, yes. I have, yes.
So I'll whip through some of these quickly. I'm not going to go into detail on everything. Just show you the kind of stuff we've got. Charlie mentioned earlier that Rich was there. What a lovely.
Before you do this, right? So on Sunday, obviously, I went to bed a bit earlier on Saturday night, and I kind of got a message from Andy on Sunday saying, "Oh, would you mind taking my Jason Aaron things over to sign?" So yeah, not a problem. Knock on the door. He was standing in the room opposite me. I was welcomed to a full grown man in full Yoda duvet cosplay that kind of just opened the door. You're right. And I was like, "Have you got anything for me?" And he was like, "Yes." But it was honestly, it was amazing. Just when I thought it couldn't get any better, Sunday just started amazingly. So yes, sorry, mate.
No,
please take it away.
So we met Rich Watkin there. He was a lovely, lovely guy, and he's good lady wife. And this was a Thought Bubble exclusive from Digital of Chapter 1. If you haven't picked up Digital, please go check it out on Kickstarter. It's a great comic series. So that's an exclusive cover that they did for the con. So really pleased to get that. Signings, I got a whole host of stuff signed. Fuzzy, I don't know if you're still in the chat, but this is for you, my friend. I got a couple of these signed by Jason Aaron, so this one's coming your way. I got a load of Thors signed by Jason as well. When we did the John Lee's kind of review a little while ago, there was this book that I realised I didn't have. So I picked that up and got it signed by John, and as ever, he draws a little funny face on it. You know what?
That's cool.
John is such a nice man, and I was walking along the kind of the concourse kind of thing, and I heard him shouting over Peter, and that's a lovely experience as well that I know you guys had. You know, that people that we've interacted with recognise her now and want to actually talk to her. You know, that's one of my favourites, again by Jason Aaron.
Yes,
that's a really cool full cover Delotto. Like I said, I'm not showing you all these. We've obviously got the Prime cover, as I mentioned, by Charlie Adlard. Love this, absolutely love it, and I think for someone who didn't want to draw a Transformer, he's knocked it out.
Done it pretty well.
Yeah. These were interesting. So Martin Simmons, tell you the story. Martin Simmons was doing sketches, and he was doing remarks. So you've seen the sketch cover that he did for for Bat Dan, which is phenomenal. Me and James went over and he was doing a remark on a blank cover, and it looked friggin' amazing. There was blood splatter with an airbrush, and I said, "I want 2 of those, please." He said, "Yeah, no problem." I went back 3 or 4 times and he kept saying, "Oh, I haven't got time yet. And then by the end of the day, I think he'd rushed it. So basically I got these, and they look good, but it's not as good as I wanted. 90 quid for that. When you consider some of the others that you see, the sketches, it's painted, it's nice, Dracula, I guess, but it's not what I was expecting when I picked it up. I've got that as well. Of Renfield, but they're all right. Got these from an artist, I can't remember his name. Nice Invincible. He had this one kind of ready to sell, but I asked him to do as a commission of Omni-Man to go side by side with him. So they'll kind of be facing each other, if that makes sense. Kind of glaring at each other.
That's cool.
So yeah, loved that. I got this from Phil Bucknam. That's a gift for a friend of mine for Lottie.
Oh, that's wicked.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Really, really nice Ghost Spider. And then just a whole host of books. So again, I'll not go through them all, but lots of horror content predominantly. Hexes, which looked interesting. A couple of volumes of that. This is a good one. This is by Tinian. Razor Blades.
Oh, yeah, I like that. Yeah.
So pick that one up. This is Ian Richardson's book. So his
art. Oh, cool, yeah, because that was his art book that he had on the store, wasn't it? Yeah.
Some really, really nice imagery in there. So I was pleased to pick that up. But yeah, nice boobies. So yeah, and then last I got this from Kieran Gillen. This is his Die role-playing game book, and he signed that inside for it. So that's wicked. My son. I got that for my son because he
cool
games. Yeah.
Oh, that's wicked.
So that's some of the stuff I picked up.
Wicked. See, I this year I go to Vice Press every single year, and I kind of get these little cards and I'll put them in the top loaders and then I keep them, and I pick them up every single year.
Oh, I like that Batman one.
The Batman Adventures one.
Yeah, very cool.
That.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, it's awesome now. And I kind of got that, and then I kind of picked up. So what did I do? I got the Jason Aaron. I got loads of Jason Aaron. And massive thanks to you, Comet Deal, and James for kind of getting stuff signed, because I was in the middle of an interview when you guys were getting that done. So I'm going to be a bit cheeky here. So I picked up these trade paperbacks, right? So Thor 1, 2, and 3. In what is it? Traveling Man. They had these long boxes full of them, and they was like trade paperbacks for £5, hardbacks for £7. I kind of went round, found issues 2 and 3, then went round to their full price stall, and they was like, yeah, they've got issue 1. I asked the woman to hold on to it for me.
Yeah.
Then I went back round to get issues 2 and 3 that I put them in the back of the trade paperback. She gave it to me, and I was like, oh, okay. Can I take these for you? She was like, yep, that's £15, please. Issue number 1 was £15 on its own. So, a little bit of mind working. So I kind of got these, and then I kind of went and got them signed by the man himself, which was really good, because he signed them in the colours of the pages, which I thought was quite cool. So that was good to do. And then obviously I picked up Scouts issue volume 2 for £2, and he signed that as well for me, which was nice. Then, and I wasn't expecting this, off the back of that, I kind of went for my interview with Chip Mosh and stuff like that, and I said, oh, can I pick up a distillery book? And he was like, yeah. Went to pay for it. He said, don't be silly. He said, take this for free.
Nice. Yeah.
Take that for free. I went around and got it all signed and stuff. Got that, which was lovely. £40 book, that is. Wow. Gold plated, lovely. And then I picked up two ash cans. That was signed by Becky Clunan and Tula Latte. And then obviously on the other side, it's signed by our man Jock. Yeah. And then I just picked up that for £4. Scotty Young. Nice. Yeah. Wanted to get that signed. This one is Parliament of Rooks, which is a Comixology exclusive. I need to speak to the creator of that, Abigail Jill Harding. She's going to be releasing it. No, she's going to be releasing it soon. She was sitting next to Jock on his signing, so that, and then obviously got the standard. I got the big one last year, so I got the small one signed by Tula Latte, and then obviously the standard Book of Evil. And then that's the commission I got there off Baz Renfield. Nice. I like that. Renshaw. And then, but that was it. That was all I kind of picked up.
Good stuff. Some
good. It was great. It was great. It was really, really good. Anyhow, like, oh man, I forgot about some Sommer Ashcan balls. Yeah, they call that theft, Charlie. They don't. Not where I'm from. They call it smart living. There we go. But yeah, so getting back to the panel. So obviously this is the final order cut off top 3. So. You was recording with James when I kind of put it together, so I've picked 2. I haven't put the QR codes on there because I didn't have time this week. But obviously this is from Slab Crusaders. We say it every week, 9 p.m. every Sunday. The FOC 9 gets cut, and you won't be able to get these. We might be, but you'd have to pay double the bubble over on eBay. So I've gone for Beware the Planet of the Apes, issue number 1, Scotty. I hate autocorrect because it puts Scotty with a C, and it's not, it's with a K. So I do apologise, Mr. Young, if you're not watching. Beware the Planet of the Apes, issue number 1. Scotty Young's got about 4 covers out this week, when this is released.
Churning them out, isn't he?
Absolutely churning them out. So yeah, I'm looking forward to reading this though, because obviously the movie's coming out soon, and I'm going to do that whole rerun where I watch every single movie and then lead up to where we are now.
Yeah. So I've just watched the last 3 with my son, and they are amazing. They are amazing movies. So I'm hyped for this. Can't wait.
Mm-hmm. And there we go. Andy's just said, please get Abigail, who I just mentioned, get her on the show. She was well up for coming on the show, so yeah, definitely. You might have to come back for that one, Andy. Wink, wink, nice. Right, so yeah, Beware Planet of the Apes, issue number 1. Okay. And then I went for this one. Joker, Harley Quinn, uncovered issue number 1. This is a one-shot. It's a foil cover, and it's obviously by Alex Ross. I've ordered this, and I've gone for the £50 9.8 slabs because I think this is the closest I'm ever going to get to owning it. So I thought, well, while it's there at a reasonable price, why wouldn't I do it?
Yeah.
It looks sensational. So I just thought, why not do it? Why not do it? But obviously, yes, we say this every week. Head over to Slab Crusaders. We normally have a QR code you can scan. Head over there and get it selected in time and everything like that. And you can pick up the covers. And he's got loads over there. So there's some absolute bangers out there. Absolute bangers. Fuzzy, I'm just going to check into the chat. Set in the original timeliness of the movies, indeed. And Perpetual, I've got my Slab Crusaders pull list on its way. Over 10k on 4 slabs. Can't wait. I've just paid for mine. I was waiting for 2 of my slabs to come back. So I think I've got about the same as you, Andy. So yeah, very much looking forward to that. Taking taking that delivery when the wife's not home. And there we go. Jack Rowland really missed the ball on Scotty's Batman off-world this week. Yeah, I missed a few of them. I did miss a few of them. So, indie picks for November 29th, which is next week. So, up first, we read this Hack/Back to School issue number 2, written by Zoe Thorogood, and the art and cover art by Zoe Thorogood. I bumped into her again at Thought Bubble. She's such an amazing person. Like, she's so good at what she does. Really, really good. She's got quite a lot coming out, and as always, her best friend or her partner in crime was there with the mask on, and it's like that music show. What's that behind the mask?
Is that who that was? I reckon.
Yes. So yeah, we've got we enjoyed this, didn't we? The first issue of this. I thought it was quite good. Yeah,
I mean, I'd never read any Hack/ before, so it was a great introduction to the characters. So yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, and then we've got the Holy Roller, written by Andy Samber, art by Rick Remender. Tom had this, I think, on FOC a few weeks ago. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. And then Andy's the memories are indie picks. Memories like the corner of my mind. Is that the corner of your mind that you don't want to go back to? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. There we go. Dropping the bombs. And what else did we go for? Did we go for anything else this week? No. Oh yeah, there we go. This.
What the hell is that?
So, I think this is the one that Scout Comics, they put a trailer out. And it was this. They put a trailer out on their Instagram. I think it played for a couple of days and then they took it off. So I don't know if this is like kind of how they were doing it. But the premise to this is naughty. It looks wicked, right? So it's basically...
See naughty again? I like that.
This is naughty, right? So
naughty.
Right? This is written by Sean Gabon and the art is by Carlos Lopez Martin. The premise of this is the main character is really in love with someone, really likes it, and they think the only way to get it is to put a pig mask on and hunt and find out what they want. It's not like that Killer Bunny book we read ages ago. It was absolute shit. This looks good, and I'm going to find a trailer, and if I can, I'm going to send it to you. But it looks, very, very good comic. Yes, it is. Little Miss Piggy. There we go. So, yes. Oh, there we go. Yes. Zoe Thorogood was awesome at the con. That's super nice. She was indeed. But, yes, so that is the indie picks for next week. And then, obviously, it's the end of the show. You can find me over on Instagram.com/Geeky Guy Comics, Twitter, X, whatever you want to fucking call it. Geeky Guy Comics. We've got Tom, Mr. AKA Bench Presser Bust for Fun, is at Not Quite Mint, and then we've got him at Tom Malin_PT. Absolutely smashing it out of the park with his PT and pasties that he's doing. So massive shout out to him. And where can we find you, the godfather of YouTube?
Yeah. So I'm over on YouTube under Triple G Comics and Instagram. I'm also on X, or whatever you call it. And what's the other one? Snapchat? I don't know. I'm on all kinds of weird shit. I don't know. But yeah, I've got a live show probably on Saturday night. I've got video coming out Saturday. And also check out One Good Scare Show. We've got videos coming out reviewing the HorrorCon we went to. So yeah, lots of stuff coming out.
And then we go, and obviously you can find us over in the Killer Comics Show as well. Killer Comics Show and the Killer Comics Show over on Instagram. I've really enjoyed that, Pete. I think it's kind of filled the void of the thought bubble void.
I'd love to fill your void, Charlie. Anything I can do to fill your void.
Again, I can't take it anymore. It was full on. It was full on fallopian fun at the weekend. So I can't be doing any more of these tantalising tickles, which only happened a few times. But yeah, I'm looking forward, and I am looking forward to November 2024.
I know.
And for the first time in my head, zombie. That song, I could not get it out of my head for love nor money. And but on that note, Pete, it's been absolutely amazing. Thank you, as always, for being such a great guy, for being the godfather of YouTube. Thank you to every single person in the chat, every single person that made Thought Bubble this year. Quality. We will be back next week. We don't know what comics we're reading because, we're live. We do stuff like that. We just decide on a whim. Big game. There we go. I was trying to build up suspense, Pete. So yeah, we're building Big Game. We're gonna be reviewing the last issue of Big Game, which we've both read, and I have to say I've got thoughts about it. So
me too.
On that note, tune in Saturday to see Pete and see what him and his comrades are getting up to, and what mischief they're going to cause on a Saturday night. It might be filmed in a Weatherspoons. It might be filmed with a table full of Jaeger bombs and Skittle bombs and various shots that aren't good for you. But yeah, tune in on Saturday to find out. Guys, have a great weekend, and we shall see you next week. See you later.
Bye.
Just get the